Quick backstory. I became homeless at 16, and through some help I found a place for people between 16 to 25, which gave me a house to stay in until I could find myself a permanent place. I was put in a rough area close to the center where I would get help and so on. This is the first story of many stories of my roommates at Rush. This was one of my first ever roommates. The house was shared, except for the bedrooms, which had fireproof doors with locks on it. My room was the larger bedroom, and the smaller room was where my roommate lived. First day of her moving in, our Rush house worker comes around and introduces me to Holly. Holly was a large girl who was about 20 to 24 at the time and played sweet, you're only 16, bless you kind of role, and said she would look after me to the worker. I smiled and did it all back, but I already had the feeling that she wasn't someone I wanted to look after me at all. She just had a creepy feel like she was over the top sweet to hide something. After the little intro, we didn't speak a lot when I was downstairs. She stayed upstairs, and when I went to my room, she went downstairs. It didn't bother me since Friday to Sunday she was out getting wasted, so I had the house to myself. Anyway, one day I sat downstairs watching a bit of Jezekyle to make myself feel a bit better about the situation I was in, and I hear her stomping downstairs. She opens the door and tries to make some small talk. You know, where are you from? Why did you leave? Blah blah blah. After about 10 minutes of her talking about ex-boyfriends and intimate crap I didn't care for, she comes out with, "Are you a virgin?" I stared at her for a good 5 seconds and reply, "That's a pretty messed up question to ask a 16-year-old. She laughs it off. "We're both girls, what does it matter?" I get up and reply, "I'm not really into girly chats. Do you mind?" She stands out of the way so I can nope it back to my room, thinking, thank the Lord it's Friday. Fast forward to about 1 a.m. where I sat in bed reading a magazine when the front door bangs, followed by, "Oh, shh, come in the living room." At this point, I'm just thinking, for God's sakes, there goes my Saturday morning of chilling in the house, when suddenly they are talking hushed and fast. I stay quiet on the bed listening when a man's voice replies to the whisper, "I'm not paying $300 if you don't know it's $150 if it's a no." His foreign accent sounds angry to say the least, but Holly becomes equally irritated too. "I asked, but she didn't say yes or no, which probably means yes, she only just turned 16. A second man chimes in with the same accent but a more serious tone. "So she is 16. I hear Holly stand up. "Yes, now give me $300 to screw off. No skin off my nose, there's others out there." As soon as she said 16, I knew that they were talking about me. My heart hit the floor, and I sat frozen on my bed, praying I locked my bedroom door. I heard her heavy footsteps slowly come up the stairs. Every step up, I felt a cold chill. "Hey, you awake?" She slurred. She did do a pretty good impression of being wrecked, but I still stayed silent, hoping she thought I'd be gone. "Hello?" The handle wobbled, but like an idiot, my door wasn't locked and it came open. I don't think I've ever thrown myself out of bed so fast in my life. I slammed that door hard enough she fell back into the hall. I thanked Rush for making my side of the door have a twist lock and laid myself flat against the door. She played it off cool. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to scare you, just was checking on you." Now my teen angst got the better of me, so I said as confident as I could, "Go away and take whoever you're with away too." By this point, she realized I knew something was going down, and she started banging her fist on my door, screaming and shouting to open up. She started almost begging when the two guys came charging up the stairs. The second man took on the most soothing tone he could. Hey, we just want to talk about some things, that's all, Holly. Holly's really upset, we need your help." "Screw off or I'll call the police," is all I could muster back. "With what phone?" Holly laughed, scoffing, and the guys let out a quick laugh too. One of them leaned against the door on the other side and without wavering stated, "If you open the door, it'll be better than if you don't, and we have to kick it down." I didn't have a witty comeback or even the strength to say no. I was 16. If they got in, I didn't stand a chance. Both the guys set off in what I guess was their native tongue. A minute passed of this until I was caught off guard by blow after blow on my door. I backed away and my door makes a noise which says it can't take two guys kicking it. I scan around the room frantically. My brain starts a mantra sort of, oh crap, as I dash to the other side of the room looking for my Windows keys. I grab them from my jeans, fumble with the window, and scream like I've never screamed before. They stop banging and realize I wasn't worth jail time, I guess, and me screaming like that is going to have everyone opening their front doors to nosy as to what's happening. I hear the stampede down the steps, and back doors swing open then slam shut. I stopped screaming and slid down the wall into a little ball. I have no idea how long I was sat there thinking, what if I, and what if they, and I didn't stop what-ifing until the sun came up. I ran downstairs, chained and bolted the back door in front, then hid away for a week. Holly and the other two men never came back. She didn't leave anything behind except clothes, and I didn't tell Rush House what happened until they came around on a house check and saw the state of my door. By then it had been a month, and now I'm older, and I wonder what they had been doing since. Long story short, the only reason my new roommate wanted to know so much about me and be friendly was so she could sell me to two blokes. This happened just about 2 weeks ago. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my longtime friend Mark. We've been friends since we were in diapers, and now we're both 22-year-old college students. We're regular guys. I play video games, hoot and holler at the women, and I just consider myself a regular dude. Mark is the same, except that he's gay, but that is so completely irrelevant to who he is as a person. Before I start the story, I just want to say that I am not homophobic, which is what homophobic people usually say, but I have a sister that's a lesbian and a younger brother that's bisexual. My poor parents, one lesbian, one straight, and the other bi. Mark was raised like my brother, so there's another gay. Anyway, onto the story. Last month, around November 3rd, if I recall, Mark brought home this guy. He was really handsome, was clean-shaven, was wearing the remnants of a business suit. He was our age, 25, Mark said. His name was Chad, and he was Mark's new love interest. I greeted Chad and welcomed him into our humble abode. Chad was great. He played Halo with me, we talked about cars. He offered to let me borrow some of his COD games when he was over the next time. Hell, even I was developing a crush on this guy. This went on for about 2 weeks. Chad would come over, Mark would cook him dinner, and then Chad would hang out with me. I was growing to like him. One night, I decided to turn in early because I had an exam the next morning. Chad and Mark stayed up to watch a movie, but I heard them go into Mark's bedroom, but I fell asleep soon after. It was probably like 3 hours later when I was awoken by the sound of my door clicking shut. Normally, I'm a very heavy sleeper, able to sleep through very loud 5 a.m. construction with my windows open, but this woke me up. Groggy and slightly agitated, I squinted to see what made the sound. I could barely make out Chad. He wasn't wearing a shirt, and he was staring right at me. Wide eyes, a look of fear on his face. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I was on alert. "What are you doing, Chad?" I sat up, turning on my light. Chad ironed his face into a normal look. I thought I heard you call my name," he said in a whisper, as if he didn't want anyone to hear. He was acting really weird, and I felt very creeped out. We stared at each other awkwardly for about 10 to 15 seconds, then he apologized and left. The next morning, Chad acted as if everything was normal. I didn't sleep much after he left. I told Mark about what happened, and he didn't seem concerned. He just said that Chad was probably sleepwalking or dreaming. I wasn't convinced, but I soon forgot about it. Full-time student with a full-time job. I don't have time to dwell on personal dramas. 2 nights later, Chad was back over again. I was sick with a cold, so I took some NyQuil and went to bed after a few games of Assassin's Creed with Chad. It was 5:36 a.m. when I heard my door close, because I remember my eyes popping open and looking right at my alarm clock. But before I could process what was going on, I felt a hand clamp across my mouth and another deliver a hard blow against my Adam's apple. I started choking. It was Chad. He was on top of me and I was struggling to get him off. I threw him against the wall, which only subdued him for a second. I rolled onto the floor, but I couldn't speak because of my gagging from the hit to my throat. Chad pulled me down, wrestled me into submission, and began pulling on my boxer briefs. He kept shushing me, telling me that it would be over soon and that he knew I was curious. I was frantic, and I was slow because of the NyQuil I had consumed, but I managed to roll over just as Chad took off his pants, and I kicked him off of me. I was able to hit him in the balls, which made him shout out in pain. Then Mark burst inside, saw Chad with his pants down and me trying to catch my breath. The look on Mark's face is one that I'll never forget. Heartbroken and angered and confused all at once. Chad stood up, said I tried to beat him, etc., but Mark went insane and almost beat the crap out of him. I pulled him off and Mark gave Chad an ultimatum. Either he calls the cops or he gets out and never comes back. Chad left immediately, but Mark still called the cops and told them what happened. They came by, took our statements, and we got a call 2 days later that Chad was in custody and he confessed. Mark also let out a small detail. Chad snorted certain powders, which apparently were in his system when he was picked up. But Mark is recovering, and he still feels guilty, I think, for having it happened. He keeps apologizing every time I see him, but I don't know. Things like this happens. I'm just glad that my best friend Mark wasn't hurt by him.